here to do a property tour and a deal or no deal with Ian and Kashyap. That's Ian. We're going to walk around the property like any investor should. He's looking it over really good. The barking dog is not included with the property. The temperature is about 30 today. Freezing cold. Windows need new work, looks like. Basements are covered up. But you want to be on it. Alright, Seth, you can be on. So we're doing a quick property tour. We have a group of people. I said it nicely. Alright, we're gonna go ahead now and look at more stuff. This part of the video. There is a multi-unit next door. Looks like a lot of windows, a lot of work there. And this property is on the market, it's on the auction. Lots of little notices there. Video. There's a whole room full of people.
I saw that other bedroom. There's actually little floors
Underneath this?
Yeah.
Yeah, but was it a good one?
Is it a subfloor or is it an actual floor?
It's a good subfloor, not a good hardware floor. No. This would be subfloor.
It's subfloor.
I mean, again, there's bones under here.
Yeah, but this is, these aren't the floor joints.
You drive by these houses and you
Right, it's mostly renters in this area.
I have these windows in my old house. Okay.
There is no electricity.
We've been getting updates here. This place does not grab your nose.
Back door, tile, garage door. 1.5 car garage attached. Okay, so now we're gonna go down. Ian, I'm coming down. Watch out. So we'll go down the stairs. We're gonna flashlight our way through the stairs. There's no railing. Mold. Go walk around. Water. Washer, dryer. I don't think there is electricity in the house, but that water is coming from the leaky water heater. Alright, we're going to go to a semi-finished basement now. It is a musty smell even with the dehumidifier running. A little pan. I am hosting the tour, so there are about 20 people looking through this at the same time. I'm gonna quickly check whether the
Alright, well, let's go upstairs.
thing is
See if
bowling.
we can find out and not go up there. Did not go up. Huh, Kevin?
This is a calibrated test to check if a thing is born. Mr. Key over there taking pictures for documenting his work he has to do here.
That's all you need.
All of this they want to tear down. Okay. Alright, good morning. We just did our property tour. My name is Kasha. That's Ian. And we have a live studio audience today, with the studio being our property in Waukesha that we are doing a deal or no deal on. Say good morning. This is
Morning.
And now I'm holding the applause sign up. That's applause. Yay! It's hard to read. Yeah. So in my prior pre-entrepreneurial days, I used to work for GE, and GE, as you probably remember, owns NBC, and NBC has studios, and this is all my learnings out of what I learned out of NBC, of how studios are set up and how you should do videos. So that and my entrepreneurial journey about taking amateur videos. Okay, so good morning, and I know you probably couldn't join us. A lot of people showed up today. This is our first live deal or no deal where we are actually, it's a live property. It's one that is available for sale. So this is where we walked in here with no idea what to expect. This property has been on the market for over 8 months. It is a foreclosure. It is located in Waukesha, Wisconsin. For the training purposes, we are all here, but we are not telling you the address because this might not be the property you might later on try to buy. The idea is to think through this process, okay? So the whole idea of today is you may or may not want to get into flipping houses, buying houses, but prior to the other deal or no deals you've done, this is a different house. Would you all agree? Okay, because so if you heard my stories before, or if you heard what I call commonly the chestnut story, that is no different than this one, actually. Chestnut House, when we talk about, is about 5 blocks away, or not 5 blocks, 2 stoplights away, about half a mile away. So it's right here, and as you probably know about the neighborhood, it's Waukesha County. We are right on Sunset Drive, about 1 block in, and right across the street from us is Target, Chili's, lots of multiple chain restaurants, a big strip mall. There's a lot of shopping going on. So we are in an area where you have a very, I call it high traffic of both feet and also vehicles. This area about 10 years ago didn't look anything like this. All of this has come about in a very short span of time. So property secrets number 1, 2, and 3 are you need to focus on. If you heard me, say it. If you're not, number 1 is location. Who knows number 2?
Okay.
Okay, obviously you guys didn't hear me before. Location. Number 3.
Location.
Location, right? You can, everything in here you can change. You cannot take this location and move it. Alright? So when we did the tour earlier, there was a lot of comments I heard, and I made sure that was not on camera. The comments were to the, whoa, this is way too much for me to do, or Ian, what was your comment? I think Ian's opinion was the same.
I think it's moving ready.
He thinks it's moving ready. So opinions will matter, and that's primarily because one, it's what your background coming into this is, right? So for the folks on the camera that don't know this yet, the smell in here is wonderful lavender. Okay, so the women disagree with me. I think they think it's a different smell. Some of them are expressing it like this. I'll demonstrate. Okay, something to that effect. You kind of get the point, right? Alright, so why is that? Because the people that live here, this was their home at one point, right? They don't live like you live. And believe it or not, there's no standard established for living. Okay? So having thought of that, it's what you are ready to get into. Today's agenda is going to really be about, well, let's look at this property for what we normally do. Once we buy it, if it's not as move-in ready as you would like, what will we do to it? and then consequently arrive at a number for either, hey, if I had to flip it, what would be my number? If I had to, stay and have it rented out, what would be my number? Both from an acquisition and investment cost, and then consequently, if you wanted to run it as a short-term rental, if there be any opportunities. All right. So that's today, and I will try to keep it to 20 minutes because you guys took a hell of a long time walking around. Okay. Any questions, thoughts, Ian, comments?
No, you're doing a good job.
All right, perfect. Okay, so let's start right away. We talked a little bit about the neighborhood. Your neighbors are who?
Two places.
What are the neighbors? Come on, just tell me. Who do you find neighborhood-wise?
Rentals?
Rentals. Yeah, they are all multi-families around here, right? What else is in the neighborhood that is of interest or value?
Retail.
Retail. There's a lot of retail. There are a lot of people that work in those retailers, right?
Strong, reputable retail. Not
Stop.
just-
Yeah, it's strong, reputable retail. So we do commercial properties as well, right? And one of the things we look at is to long-term leases are people that are big box stores. There's a Target across the street, a pet store, PetSmart, I think, Petco, whatever. I think there's a Pick and Save. There's a lot of big retailers. Retailers stick around. They sign multi-year leases, maybe even a decade long. So also they have jobs for people, right? This is definitely not a high-end house. It's about 1,200 square feet. It's a smaller unit, right? So as you think about the neighborhood and the people that live here and where would they work, you kind of have to put that into place. If you walked or driven down Sunset Drive, then you know that there are a lot of small businesses that are owned, and the Sunset Drive has come about in a long way in terms of development. Question from the studio audience.
One of the
I like
questions, just
that.
to add on to the neighborhood and who might live here, and I was gonna add manufacturing that's in Waukesha. So you've got small and a larger size, so
Yep.
that's basically your demographic.
Very good point. So, most of you guys, hopefully, I know you weren't told the exact address. When you came in here, you researched Waukesha a little bit. We run a report that gives you an idea that what this zip code, this area is like, what kind of demographics, what kind of work they do, what kind of shops are in the location, what's needed in this location. It kind of speculates that. It kind of helps you a little bit do that. And to add on, yes, Waukesha is a big manufacturing town. A lot of manufacturing going on within a 5-mile radius of this location. So that's about location. We walked around the exterior of the property, and everybody, I'm sure, agrees it's an A++, right? Okay, 2 people don't agree, but everybody else thinks it's a... Alright, fine, they don't agree with me. It needs a little TLC, so we walked around. A decent sized lot. Can somebody read off? Engagement from studio audience so that you can read off of here. What's the acreage? Anybody can know? Acreage?
Said 0.2.
0.2. It's not too big, right? Is there a fence on the yard? No fence on the yard.
No
Yes.
fence, no fence on the back, but there's a fence here.
There's a fence on either side, right?
Yeah.
So, as investors, sometimes you'll only get one chance to look at a property, right? You're going to bet on this, literally, with what you saw here in 20 minutes, okay? And that's, I think this turned out very well because at least there's daylight outside. I've done this where we did this with literally a flashlight, and not even this high-end one. It's the one of you guys was using a little pencil light, right? So you gotta, take good notes. Your cameras are a great asset to take videos and stuff like that because you'll remember this stuff more than how many fences did the half fences, things like that. So exterior wise needs a little more TLC, right? Now if you're a landscaping company, that to you is no big deal because you can take care of the lawn, the yard, the bushes, the shrubbery, right? No problem. But you have to kind of think through that. All right, thoughts on exterior? All right, let's come on the inside. Apart from the wonderful lavender smell that you don't like, what do you guys think about the interior? Other than move-in ready.
Sorry, I do have a comment. On
Yes.
the exterior, new sidewalk, I don't know that wooden plank gangway is sustainable. So I think something safer and fresher would be valuable.
Pressure would
So
be
that's,
valuable.
that's fairly minor, but the roof looks good, the siding looks decent.
Yep.
Yeah, we could quite easily let that expense go.
How many people counted? How many exterior doors are in this?
Three, I believe.
Three.
In the garage.
There's four.
There's four.
There's 4 doors that go to the outside for a 1,200 square foot house. So think about that, right? I mean, it's not there. If you were doing estimates, did you guys count how many windows there were?
At least
Four on this side, nice.
Right. So.
I counted.
And the windows are in rough shape, so they might need some work, right? So something that you guys gotta keep counting, right? I have people that some of the investors will actually, know with kind of just visual that this is the average size of the window. If it's a custom window, it's very expensive. Okay, a standard triple pane window you can get away with like $100 or $120, $150 window. If it's a custom window of the same thing, by even an inch, you're talking about 4 times the price. So, you probably want to these are the notes you're taking. Now, the secret going outside is, you can count the windows later on in the day and go do that, right? Some listings don't have do not trespass rules, but sometimes you want to make sure that you walk around and count those windows on the exterior. Good point about the sidewalk or the patio. Do you need all of that? Think about that as you do your estimates, right? The old way, 4 entrances into this place, they might need the woodwork. It's not what it is what it needs to be, is what you need to get to. Okay? That's where HGTV comes, they always show you the little visual of this is what we're gonna do. Yeah, you need to be doing that in your head. That will help. Alright. Any other guys?
Well, we noticed there was seepage in the basement, and then the grade from the property next door is sloping directly down into, so that's something that'll have to be addressed.
Wonderful. Let's give away that secret too. Most of the seepage in the basement is because of water coming into the house, in case you didn't know. So if water is coming into the house, then you can make sure it is not coming into the house. And the way you do it is grade it. That's your first start. Of course, there are many other places, many other things that could go wrong. Basement experts help you figure that out, but the most common FAQ is, it's graded into it. We live in Wisconsin, snow does fall, snow does accumulate, snow does melt, snow goes down. So, very, very simple on that. Okay, coming in? All right, wonderful. Let's come in. I'm just keeping it moving here. From the layout, how many bedrooms does this have? 2 bedrooms? Would you count this room?
Downstairs.
3 bedrooms, 1 bath.
1 bath.
There's this awkward bedroom here off the kitchen, but that's completely usable. There's a window in it.
Right. I think the way it's defined is if it's got a closet, it's a bedroom. Otherwise, it's a fancy study. So right now I only counted 2, right? That has closet.
Yeah, as is.
1 extra room, right? What do you guys think about the layout?
It's very chopped up.
Not real functional.
Not, yeah, was it easy to meander, know where everybody is? This is where your favorite layout spot happens. Like if you guys prefer open concept, what do you use for your short term? How do you design them? Are they open concept? Are they
As open as can be, yeah. We have some studios that are very open.
So I think this would be a big 1,200 square foot studio. But think about it. It could be opened up a little bit because there's a lot of wasted spaces, square footage especially in walkways, right? When you walk in, there's a little walkway. When you walk around, there's a walkway. When you walk to the bedrooms, there's a walkway, right? There's a lot of nooks and crannies all around the property. So again, you think about that. Why is that important? Because if you think about your walkways and how you lay out your structure, it'll give you a vision of maybe there's too much that it's easy to take out than to put in, right? Maybe if you do another tour where it's a little more, user-friendly access for all these walkways, then you might not need to modify layout. So you might want to think about that. Modifying layout requires you to get permits usually, and also it requires you to make sure the place does not cave down because you need to watch out for support structures. So something to keep in mind. If we had a smaller group, we would probably walk around and kind of point out some of these things, but with large groups and several diverse expertise levels, it's going to be very difficult. Okay, so the interior. Every house needs basic stuff. In case you didn't already know, it needs a kitchen. You need at least one bathroom, right? And then in this case, there's attached 1.5 car, I would say, garage. So that's always a plus. All right. Did you guys notice any other things that would be of consequence?
The water damage?
Where? Where's the water damage?
That one?
Okay.
Back bedroom. Okay.
So, a lot of mold.
Yeah, a lot of mold.
A lot of mold. Okay. So who knows how to know what something is a mold?
Lick it.
Smell?
Okay. Smell, mold,
Mold remediation.
lick. Okay. You have to be careful. Not everything black is mold, but everything black could be mold. So always approach with caution, but get an expert opinion.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's just black mold that died or whatever, you know. Google it, what is the causes of mold, and best information is how do you remediate it. Right now, in today's world, I bet the mold cleaner is also gone off the shelf, so you might not get it today. But usually it's not an expensive fix.
A property like this, you don't worry about mold because you're gonna be tearing all these surfaces
Yes.
out. Because they're all bad.
Well,
There's not much here that's good.
so, good, let's talk about that. Actually, that leads us to the next step. So, if you are planning on remediating or remodeling versus redoing,
Rehabbing.
rehabbing, redoing, there's lots of terms. None of them are defined in the investor book of dictionaries because there's a fine difference, not. Okay? So, if you're doing that, you need to think about the big stuff first. What is the one thing that everybody's doing this right now for?
We're cold, there's no heat.
There is no heat. Who knows?
Insulation?
Insulation, okay. There is a code for that today of how much insulation you need. Who found the heater or the central HVAC?
There was no central.
No central HVAC, right? It's a very hard unit to miss in case you couldn't. Usually, sometimes it's above you in the attic, sometimes it's below you in the basement, but don't miss it. The other one, secret here is, I sometimes state the obvious as secrets, I know, is follow the ductwork. Did you guys notice any ducts?
No.
No ducts. So that kind of gives you an idea, right? So if you are now thinking around redoing versus just updating, if you're redoing, you probably want to plan ductwork in here. Alright, air conditioning. I know it's winter and we quite don't need it right now, but was there any air conditioning here?
There seems to be signs that there were window units at one point.
Window units, right? So there no central air, but people obviously needed it at one point. So again, clues that you want to make sure you keep it in your notes as to estimating the big stuff. So we talked about layout, which is the big stuff, right? Breaking down a layout is easy. Putting it back up is not cheap. Okay. Number two, once you take down that, you have planned for HVAC, etc. What's common? What's in now? Central air is in or baseboards?
Central.
Oh, after?
After. What's in? What are you going to get to? I mean,
What's popular?
what's popular? Yeah. By the way, as a community, we can't rehab a house as a community. It's the investor's idea or the person doing the work's goal, right? So person A's opinion will differ from person B's opinion because that person might think this is live-in ready and that person might think we need a little bit work, right? So you can't rehab as a team. You can only rehab with a vision of this is what it's going to be. So don't avoid that pitfall. I have a couple of investors that will come to me and say, hey, you know, 4 of us or 5 of us are going to get ready and we're going to do this thing called HGTV rehab. We're buying one of these and we're going to work all over weekend and do this. That I don't think ever turns out well. Okay, so it's from buying what kind of material you use to kind of the level of expertise of people to finish stuff. And believe it or not, cleanup is a pain in the you know what, because nobody wants to clean up after that. And rehab makes a mess. Okay, so some things to concern yourself over there as well. So, as in this particular case, Ian's going to be the lead, and so let's hear what he has to say. What are you going to do with this, Ian?
Well, for any property, you have to have multiple exit strategies, any deal that you're gonna do. So, in this neighborhood, we could either do a flip or a rental property, because there are a lot of rentals in this area.
Okay.
Because of the amount of work that's gonna be needed to be done to get this place live in ready, it might exclude the possibility of doing rentals.
Okay.
And it also might exclude the possibility of doing a flip, but that's why we run the numbers.
Why is that?
Well, the way to figure out if you're gonna make money is, what's the ARV, after repair value? You take out all of your expenses, and then your profit, and whatever's left over is what you can offer. And all of that above may be more than the ARV, so there may not be a deal to be done unless the seller wants to pay us up also. So we get paid to buy this house. That could happen, that could work. There's just a lot of different ways that you can think creatively if you're gonna buy the property.
Right, okay, so we'll get into the numbers in a bit. So what, now, to do either one of those three, once you own it, so currently this property is owned by the bank, right? You all know that, it's a foreclosure. They're auctioning it off, they're getting rid of it. Nobody lives here, that was obvious as well, right? Now, to make it live-in ready as an owner for yourself, for your renter, for your short-term tenant, you'd have to do a certain number of things to it, right? So you need to, that's why hopefully I will write a piece of paper, write down a list of what we're going to do to it. This is what you want to do to it, right? Ian might want to do something different. The property is being sold as is, which means the bank or the owner wants to get rid of it. They are not willing to invest in anything in here, including paying for the electric bill to, you know, show the property, right? So you need to keep all these factors in mind as you evaluate and assess the property. Okay, now here's a little story of why, what differentiates different investors. I work with a lot of investors, right? I have investors that walk into a place and look at it and go, ew, you know, this is a $350,000 house. They'll go look at it, ew, I don't like the pink toilets. I'm not going to buy this property because I don't like that pink toilet. I know you guys are snickering, but that's what they start off with. And I know, and I hopefully thought one of my guys is going to be here, one of my remodelers. We walk through something and they go, wow, the bones are great. So it needs a few little cosmetic changes, is how they would look at this property, you know? Because for them, taking down walls, putting in subfloors, you know, putting in a ductwork for HVAC, no big deal, right? So it's totally variant when it comes to that. So building on that, what would you do with this property? Should we get into the numbers then? List?
We can, I mean, that's gonna take a little bit of time.
Okay. Alright.
We don't have to do that on camera.
Okay, we'll not do that on camera. That's fine. Actually, that's the idea. Because. Alright, do you guys have any questions? No? How many of you, if you were considering it, would make offers on this property? 2 people. Alright, that's good. Let's get some thoughts. You don't have to give your detailed plans, just thoughts. What would interest you on this?
The land.
The land, okay?
Yeah, because I work in waukesha.
Yeah.
I do marketing in waukesha.
Yeah.
I do consumer buying marketing in waukesha.
Yeah.
So I kind of know a lot of information about the people in waukesha.
Right.
And this land can be really something interesting.
Correct. Okay.
I don't see any reason, I would like to run the numbers to see if this would work for a flip, a rehab.
Alright. Okay,
Yeah, I think Ian's right, it may not be workable for a rental at this point, but
okay.
Yeah.
So every person is gonna have a different strategy here, okay? For me, for example, I would consider other aspects too. If I was gonna run it as a rental, right? The schools that are in this location, that serve this location, right? There might be the type of people that are more than interested to live in a smaller house, but have their kids go to these schools for whatever reason, multitudes of reasons. They have better special needs care. They have a higher level in sports, right? They grew up here, right? And just times are tough and they want a smaller property. So you never know what kind of people are there that you need to consider as well. Then knowing the place. Now, I think only one person said, I like it because of the land. In other words, location, right? Because the other people don't know what it's worth. I would agree with them. The only value of this one is the location. It's hell of a lot good location in my perspective, primarily because I know this place very well, right? If, for example, and I know Ian's strategy might be different. If we are doing a short-term rental here, if I'm a short-term renter here, you know, somebody that comes in house hunting, somebody that's relocating, somebody that's visiting, you know, waukesha for family. Target is across the street. I can literally walk over, drive over to bring my groceries or pick and save, right? It's right across the street. I want to go on a night out with my wife that I brought. Then I can go to the dinner right across the street, literally. There's like 80 different restaurants on the street, right? So then you can't get that, for example, in the other locations you have, right? So you need your exit strategy or your sustain strategy up front. Then you determine, okay, has anybody done the pre-work on what this market is worth? What is a single family in this area worth?
Next, wait, 205 maybe.
205 is one answer, okay? Whatever cheap app you want to use, you can. There's no right answer here. Right? Because that's what you're going to base your decision on. Right? Okay, this one is listed at 105. Right? So, if one number was 205, I have yet to see a single family home ranch in waukesha with less than 250 recently. So, not in this condition. We're not talking about condition.
Two bedroom?
2 bedroom, maybe 210, 215. You know, so the other value of this property is it's a ranch. No stairs for the people that cannot climb stairs, right? So something to consider as well. So think about that. Let's say it's 200. Okay? How much money do you have to invest before you have to break even? Let's say you got it. You did get to buy it at 100. You have $100,000, right? I'm making the math very easy.
Yeah.
So what can $100,000 buy you if you were interested in putting it in here? So think about those numbers for a minute now, right? It's not whether you have 100,000. It's not whether you can use 100,000. It's whether or not whether 100,000 can buy you. Now, we've done a couple of other properties where it was, you know, the purchase price is, you know, X, and by the time you add in the kitchen at $30,000, it was X plus 30, which was way over market value, right? This is not the case here, right? The market value of this, or selling value, is a lot lower. We did another property, I believe, where we talked about buying low. This is an example of buying low, right? But buying low does not give you the ready-to-go move-in house either to consider as well. So again, set your expectations as investors, right? You want to get into the game, you can get a ready-to-go property, then buy it from somebody that's already got it ready to go, right? But your returns are going to be much lesser than something that's at a lower base cost value. Okay? All right. Other thoughts?
I think if that's all, let's shout out and do the numbers.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you.
Awesome.
Do the numbers.
Good job.